Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're at episode 212. Today is April 12th. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me after a much long hiatus, Mandrew Montemayor.
Happy 12 on episode 212.
Ooh, a 12er on a 12er. So, guys, I know we push back sometimes. It's been a couple of weeks, but much needed rest and relaxation. We had a lot going on, so I just kind of wanted to go over quickly what we had. We had a lot of different birthdays going on that took up that pretty much landed on a lot of time when Andrew and I have to actually record. And when it comes to hanging out with friends and family, we kind of took that road. Andrew was actually out of town. Did you go to a concert or what'd you go do?
Yeah, not that I don't know if any of you guys were there. If you were, tell me about it, because that'd be cool. I went with Dante and met up with my cousin, and we went to go see Churros, Amir, and Hawthorne Heights in Hollywood, and it was amazing. It was so good.
Now, you were gone for like 5 days, right? You had that was kind of a bigger trip, right? Was it 3?
Yeah, it was
okay.
Just
I thought it was over the weekend to like Wednesday or something. And then I had I had my aunts, my uncle, my cousins, and all of them come into town for what felt, I think it was like 4 days. So that was a lot of fun. And then we all went to Andrew's and Cece's baby shower. That was awesome, dude. I was having a lot of fun, and that not open bar, but that bar that was in the back. I didn't realize how cheap they were selling those drinks, man. And it was getting nice and toasty. So we got to see a lot of people. Thanks for coming again.
I love it.
Yeah, I had a blast there. And then unfortunately, when we were going to record after that, I ended up catching a cold for it felt like a week, but I think it was close to like 3 or 4 days. So it just kind of stockpiled. And I know we did miss a lot of big things like the Switch 2 Direct and a lot of shenanigans that are going on with that. That is something we did want to tackle. But there's a lot going on with it, and the time we were able to kind of put together the show, I didn't want to do it injustice. So if there is something still rolling into next week about price changes, digital cards, and all tariffs and all that kind of stuff, I think I do want to sit down and kind of look at it more analytically, and we'll go over that.
I was going to say, yeah, especially too, because a lot of that stuff with their information is changing like daily with pricing and delays and whatever. So if you personally want to hear us talk about it, go ahead and drop a question. We can look specifically into it.
Yeah, perfect. So, guys, that is everything that we've been up to. But yeah, just to let you guys know, we are back. We've already got our plans for the next couple of episodes and some side projects. So, if you're joining us on YouTube, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on any of our social media, our Linktree link is in the description. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If you guys are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, you can listen to us on any podcast of your choosing. So, this is kind of going to be more of a laid-back episode to kind of get us back into it. We're going to talk about something old and something new. Excuse me. Originally, a week or so ago, Andrew and I were going to go over Assassin's Creed Shadows, since we both just beat it, and I figured let's still talk about that. Let's get our thoughts on the record for it. So it's going to be a small review, and I'll just say now it's going to have light spoilers. We're going to get into the story of it and the action and the combat, and then what we think of the open world. So if any of you guys aren't familiar with it, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a 2025 action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft Quebec and published by Ubisoft. The game is the 14th major installment in the Assassin's Creed series and the successor to Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it dropped on March 20th, 2025. Now, there's a lot of skepticism about how well this game is going to do, because Ubisoft, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, has a lot riding on this. If you could dig deeper into what's been going on with Ubisoft behind the scenes, there's a lot of kind of craziness that's happening. But fortunately for them, Assassin's Creed did very well. So in the U.S., Assassin's Creed Shadow was the best-selling game of this past week, according to Circana Retail Tracking Service, as reported by the gaming industry analyst Matt Piscatella on Blue Sky. Additionally, Assassin's Creed Shadow is on track to be one of the highest-selling games of 2025 so far, with only Monster Hunter Wilds selling higher during its own launch week back in 2025. So before we dive into what we think of the game, does it shock or surprise you at all? Did you think it was a safe bet that Assassin's Creed Shadows was going to do as well as it did, considering all the controversy that was kind of circling it?
I thought it would do good, regardless, because even though there's still, a lot of people that are like, this game's, and then they put B-U-Y, non-binary. I'm like, bro, you guys really thought you were, that clever with this shit? No, a game set in Japan, this is what people have been asking for forever, so there's no way this game wasn't going to do, gangbusters.
Well, it's weird, because it is coming back off of Mirage, and Mirage, I don't think did as well as they thought it was going to. So, I mean, maybe it is kind of back to form of being, because I know it was supposed to be one of the original ones, or the smaller ones. Assassin's Creed Shadow is a bigger game. Would you put it more on scale with, like, Valhalla, Origins, and Odyssey, or just maybe a bigger Assassin's Creed 2?
I'd put it on scale with the others, and not just in terms of, like, the scope of the game, but even for, like, the marketing. I think I'd send it to you, but I think it might have been when you were sick and you didn't see it in the chat. They had lots of cool different marketing things, you know, where they kind of go the extra mile to make stuff. But one of the ones they did is they made, like, one of those almost classic, those, like, live action shows that they have in, like, Japan, where it's, like, the dudes fighting the monster and they go like that and, like, transform and stuff like that. But it looked extremely retro. Like, Yasuke was, like, some nerdy dude, I think, in the library. He was, like, fixing his glasses. And then it's, like, a samurai, and it does, like, the running, and the camera just looks old school and vintage. Cool. I'll have to send it to you. Like, it's so hilarious. I know Collins had seen it. Okay. And it was really funny. So I was like, okay, like, when you see little things like that, I'm sure that costs, maybe not, like, $1 million or whatever, but there's some faith in it that you're going out and doing this off kiltered marketing that isn't like the normal thing you would do, so you're putting in the extra effort, so that shows that you believe in something,
not just throwing up a commercial after advertisement or something like that,
some generic commercial like they do with like some of the Call of Duty ones, where it's just cut by cut by cut by cut, buy this game on this day.
Buy it. All right, so guys, we are going to dive into what I said, the story, the action, combat, and the open world. So again, light spoilers. So as far as the story goes, just so you get the time space. It's set in the 16th century Japan towards the end of the Sengoku period. The game focuses on the millennia-old struggle between the Assassin Brotherhood, who fight the peace and liberty, and the Templar Order, who desire peace through control, from the perspective of two protagonists, Naoe, who is a female shinobi, and Yasuke, an African samurai inspired by the historical figure of the same name. The two characters have different gameplay style, allowing quests to be approached in different ways. So, on paper, I think it sounded great that you're tackling this experience from two different points of view. Because if you remember, Assassin's Creed Shadow, I believe originally was only supposed to be Naoe. It was just supposed to be from Assassin's point of view, and I believe they added on the Samurai Yasuke point of view down the line in production. Unfortunately for me, and I don't know where Andrew stands on it, for me, I think the game fell flat on the execution and is a tad bit boring. And I say it based on that the story for me was a lot of just kind of rinse and repeat. To me, I didn't feel like there was anything new being brought to anything that's in the story, because this game starts off fantastic. I thought the first 15 minutes of the game, when you're playing Yasuke under Nobunaga and you're kind of going through and you're raiding all this stuff, I was like, dude, this game is sick, especially when you start seeing how he fights. So we'll get into the combat a little bit later. I thought it was great. Unfortunately, it's after that you're stuck playing Naoe for like 2 hours, and it takes a while for her before I think I liked the way she was able to play, because I do think she is kind of the more fun character to play. But for the story-wise, I think Yasuke has a much more interesting story, which I think was a lot of people's biggest concern, right? How much of this based on a real African samurai story where you get to take elements from and then spin and over-dramatize, because it isn't the same exact story. It's just loosely based off some events, which I thought he had the cooler story, but the character I think you kind of have to play the most is Naoe as the traditional assassin, and unfortunately I think her story is the most generic cookie cutter, my family died, I'm going after vengeance story there is. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but in terms of trying to make something pop, I thought they did something really cool with Yasuke, who ended up being somebody I didn't play as much as with somebody that's like, oh, the generic revenge story. So we'll get into a little bit more of what they can do, because I do think it's cool that because they both tackle it from a different approach, that both these characters, to move the story along, have to deal with different sides of people that they're interacting with, where she's dealing with people that are more tied to her father's assassination and people that help her out, where he's dealing more with some like the Portuguese and how he got over across the way, as well as different shogun and things like that. So story-wise, I mean, do you feel the same as I, or do you think it was some of the best Assassin's Creed in a while?
No, I think I liked it a lot more, and then the more that I sat on it, I'm like, no, like, there's just... I agree with, like, kind of a lot of what you said. Like, it just felt kind of, like, boring and slow and took a while for certain things to get going. It definitely starts off extremely strong, and I think part
Because I think you were way more excited in the beginning than I was.
Yeah, I for sure was. And I think part of like what set me back too is there was like way too many, especially towards the beginning, flashbacks where you're doing like training. And I'm like, I already know how to play. I've been fighting and doing people. Like, why am I redoing like how to parry and stuff like that? I don't understand.
The pacing of the story just seemed off.
Yeah, the pacing is extremely off. And I like Naue more than Yasuke.
Really?
For sure. Yeah, because I like the idea of like her revenge tale and everything and like the people that are incorporated in it. But it's just, there's too much. And as far as like even how they do it, you don't really have to play as like Yasuke. It's not really his story in this game. It's mostly her.
See that shoehorned in a little bit.
Yeah, like he's just kind of off to the side. That's why even after playing it, I'm like, well, in the marketing originally when they first revealed the game, I don't know why they didn't just start with her and then lead with him and be like, we also have this other character, because he's like great within the confines of what the story is, but it's not like there's much to him there. He's just a side character that you happen to have to use sometimes. I think my biggest problem with it is just how long and like bloated it felt. Like there's just so much useless stuff that you have to do, and it just feels like tedious. And I guess since we're doing like light spoilers and it's a revenge quest, there's like 12 big targets, and again, that's a light spoiler because there's targets in every one of your games, that it really didn't feel like much, because it's not like you're getting to know these people. You're kind of just assassinating them, and you have your moments where you talk to them like you do in the old games. I don't understand why they didn't just cut that down to like 6. Would have felt a lot better. And then the missions leading up to how you fight these guys, and maybe get information on where they're located, because you do have to do that where you have to interrogate people, or maybe you're damaging a dock and blowing up supplies to get this guy to come out of hiding or something like that. That could have been you hunting down the other 6 as being like, they're little minions and they're going to lead you to the gateway bosses or something, instead of just 12 separate people where some of them aren't even like that important in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said, because a lot of it just feels forgettable. I mean, of course, the guys at the end are kind of more memorable about who's been running it, who's been in leagues with the Assassins, or let alone the Templars and things like that. But yeah, I have it written down too. I think it was just way too long in the wrong ways, because it did kind of show off it wanted to show off the times and what was going on with the ceremonial stuff. Like, there's a big, long quest about learning how the tea rituals and stuff like that.
I appreciate that
and again, I think it was cool. I think they were trying to show off the culture and the time period. It's just, for me, it's like, I'm not here to witness that. And I think what they did was cool. It was just time spent in the wrong direction.
I think with something like that one is kind of important, and you do have the one, but stuff like that is few and far between, where the others are pretty much like, free these people in a mine. Okay, now we'll interrogate this, and now you're on to the big boss, versus, okay, I could have just interrogated one of those minions, but now I got to do this 10 other times.
And I also think, too, it took too long for the game to become Assassin's Creed. Like, eventually at the end, you do start learning things, but that's not till chapter, 3 or 4 when you start getting into the point, because in the beginning, when she gets the Hidden Blade, she founds her own group called, what was it, Brotherhood of the Hidden Blade or something like that. And before she finds out about the Assassins and the Templars and stuff, so it was almost like they made up their own group based on some things. So for me, I'm like, even the story wasn't even attached to the Assassins, because the memory stuff is all kind of gone, which was another thing I was pointing out. I'm like, the Animus is still there, but in such a light capacity that there is no more going, oh, let's get somebody in here while there's a threat of the Templars coming and we're using the memory system. Like, it just seems like it's so far completely removed that it's just, to me, it didn't really even feel like an Assassin's Creed game anymore.
I think that is part of the big problem. And for me, it's not even so much the Assassin Templar stuff, because, it is a little bit lighter on that. But I also feel like Origins gets the pass because that was the setting for it, but Odyssey I don't think really had too much. I mean, it's more about Cassandra, or I think it's Alexios if you choose the guy, his quest. Same with even 4, Black Flag. You're mostly just a pirate doing his own thing that happens to come across it, and I don't think it's until late in the game where he believes in the faith. But a lot of people have been saying for a while, you either need to Force
Kenway when you're,
that's 3 or
no 3's Connor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 4, 4 where you're the pirate. Yeah, it's mostly just about him being a pirate, and it isn't until maybe mid to end game where he's like, okay, I'm part of
both Kenways.
I'm part of the faith. I'm part of the Brotherhood now, or whatever. But it's mostly just about him being a pirate and his adventure and his rise versus the overall Brotherhood. But the biggest thing that people have been saying is what are you doing with the future stuff? That's usually the least interesting, or not future, the modern day stuff or the anime set. with how little it's in here, I don't understand why you just don't drop it. I don't think anyone would care, and I don't think anyone would complain and be like, oh, the animus isn't here and you're not reliving people's memories, versus just drop that stuff completely.
Yeah, either drop it all or remove. Yeah,
just either remove it all or like commit. So just do each game, because it's a video game. If you're going to be a video game, be a video game. Nobody's going to care. I'm not going to care that my person has these weird abilities that maybe other people don't. Like, that's what makes it fun. So it's like you're caught in between, where you're trying to make it a real situation, but you're trying to, this is why your person has these powers. And it's like, just commit or don't, but get rid of just the anime stuff, or bring it back and redo the story and figure out how to work it in. Because right now, especially the little breaks, I'm like, dude, I'm just sitting here listening to this person talk while you're in the animus loading thing where you can't see anything. I'm like, dude, I hate this. This is the most annoying part, because it takes like 5 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, and then as far as the story goes, I mean, you do get a point to get choices where you can give people mercy or you can like behead them.
Oh,
which was
did you? I this kind of leads into that. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
I didn't do choices. I played on canon mode. Did you play like that?
Yeah, okay, so that's fair to mention. In the beginning of the game, you can do a canonized version of the story, meaning that it takes choices out, and you're playing what the official timeline would be. No, I ended up choosing. I could choose my adventure. So I guess we haven't really talked about that. So. I don't. Maybe I should look it up after this. And it's like I wonder what the outcome changes differently. But as far as the giving mercy and things like that, what I saw is it really only affects the allies that you're trying to recruit with you. Because if you do something, I forget the big chick's name that you can recruit early on. Yuya. Like if you do, she's into more mercy. So if you start doing beheadings, I think she won't join your team. If you show more, you don't show leniency. So I think that's about the biggest point, which I thought was kind of a cool little story element. You can add these characters because when it goes to the rings and you can see all the assassins, what it does is it opens up these bigger flowchart kind of things where it's like you're going to meet the people, you're going to meet the allies, you're going to meet if certain other people are being hunted by or messed with by another group. It opens up a whole bunch of things. So story-wise, there's a lot of different things to explore. But as far as the choices go, I don't think they really did anything. So I wonder what the big difference would be between a canonized ending and mine. Because at the end, you're getting to the same goal.
I think I looked it up afterwards because I had missed some of the companions. So I think that was one of the final achievements I had to do. And I think choices only affect like one of them. Because I think even mine, when playing in the canon mode, I don't remember who it is that they kill and Yuya wants you to show like forgiveness or whatever. And I don't think that your person does from what I remember. And she still joins your team. Yeah,
see, so, again, it's one of those things where it's like, you guys are making a choice, but what did it really do in terms of the story? Because, like, to me, it doesn't seem like it did anything, and there's nothing I remember reading that's anybody pointed that out. Like, I almost forgot about it until you said that was an option. So, as far as the story goes, yeah, it's in Japan, and it was cool, and you finally get to the end, and you kill all the guys that you need to, but other than that, when I was playing the last mission, I believe it's with Yasuke. I don't know if you have to go in a certain order, but Yasuke was the final one I did. And I didn't even know it was the end. And then the credits started rolling. I was like, oh, that was the game. So is there anything else you want to talk about the story? I thought the story was fine.
It's okay. And like I said, I played canon mode, so I don't know the difference. I just wanted the choices like removed from me because I thought maybe it would give me a more solid story experience. But it sounds like we almost just kind of had like the same thing that I don't know that really made that big difference.
So we'll move on from the story. Next, I want to get into is the action and the combat. I do think the fighting and the action was pretty solid and fun to do. There's definitely a separation and feeling between the two characters. So Yasuke, dude, when you fight with him, dude, he hits like a truck. He's got these big, powerful swings. He's got a bunch of heavy weapons, huge katanas, that big cudgel, whatever that thing is, and he's the one that uses
the club,
the bow and arrow, the big club, and then Naue is more of the gadgets and smoke bombs, the shurikens, and the light blade. So before we get into like what separates it, I mean, how did you just like the different styles? Like, did you feel a big difference in them?
I love the different styles. Yeah, it's especially depending on how you're fighting. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like skulking around. I'm just gonna try to brute force this section, and so I just go in with like Yasuke, and I'm just in there just slaughtering everybody. And I feel like too, and that's what sucks. And I think we have the same idea is that at the start of this game, when you start as Yasuke, you are this like brick shit house, kind of invading these people. The first time like you behead somebody and it's just gory, and I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like if this whole game is like, it just starts off with so much hype to fall flat.
And it's got those cool motions when you do these your special attacks. It goes black and white.
Yes.
And then it does like the cool slow down, blood splatter. Like it's got that was so the action I think is pretty top shelf.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I like the diversity in the weapons too, because I think each person has like 4 different weapons that they can use that do offer like varied fighting styles, and it just felt like refreshing. Like for Naue, you can have like your little Tonto blade, or you have a samurai sword. I think
the Kasurigama.
Yeah, that's the one I ended up using the most. The blade.
I use that in D&D.
the blade on the chain, and so I'm like fighting everybody from like a distance or like pulling them towards me. That ended up being my favorite sound. I think as for Yasuke, I was using like the big club.
Yeah,
just smashing everybody
because you can grab someone and put it behind their back and then he brings them in with that bear hug. Yeah, and what's cool is we get into the skill trees about it because I have pros and cons about it. The pro is I thought it was cool that there's a skill tree. Unfortunately, it's extremely limited. It's not, you can't do too much with it, but it was cool that each fighting style had a skill tree. So like you can put points and be like, oh, I'm really going to use the katana more. I'm going to put points into that. I'm really going to use the bow and arrow more. I'm going to put points into that. Now, I think it was a free reset that you could do, so you could pull all the mastery points out. And then you also had, like, he had a, then you can level up. For him, it's his samurai ability. For her, it was her assassin ability. And that was really cool. The part I had a negative on was, on the skill tree, is that it was forced exploration. So, for example,
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, so it's weird because you can't unlock the tiers based on your experience. You've got to go find. So there's something that they can do together, which are the shrines or finding these scrolls. But then there's also points that only Yasuke can go do and only Naue can go do, and you have to collect X amount of them to go from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3. I think it goes up to 5 to unlock certain abilities. So even if you want to see the most of what your character can do in the skill tree that you want, it's forcing you to go do these points, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. You shouldn't be. That's what the game storyline should be doing. It should be sending me here to go explore it. But like if you're getting stuck on a boss and you want to go, or you see a cool ability like, oh, I want that execution, it's stopping you from playing the game just to go find these things. Now I had no problem with it. I did think it was kind of fun to go track them all down, but for me I think that's something that takes away from the game. So how did you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I hated that.
I mean, it's kind of more open world, but it ties in directly with the skill tree.
That's my least favorite part of this game, is that part of the skill tree, because it's not like it requires like, oh, you just do one of these shrines. You have to get these special skill points, we'll just call them on the side, versus, I don't know, we'll just say weapon points or something. You have to, it would jump up, so it'd be like you need 10, now you need 20, now you need like 40, but you start over from 0 because you're using them to rank up. And the scroll ones is the easiest one I think to do, because
if you're Naue,
because you can use like your assassin's vision, and so you can lock on to like where they are, because you can see them as a blipping white thing through a wall. But the shrines aren't hard, but sometimes it's in a big square area and you have to find like 4 shrines, so where you're running around and you're looking for them, and it takes forever just to find them because there's no prompt until you get super close, so you kind of know what they look like, but there's certain things that do look like shrines. And then even still, it's just tedious that I guess maybe I understand respecting the culture. You have to sit there and wait for them to do like the little prayer, and I'm like, come on, like hurry up. Like I have to do this every time. Why don't you just give me an option to skip versus whatever? But I think the more tedious ones in the beginning is nowadays, because you're doing a memory from the past of her learning stuff. So it's almost like it's taking me through like a walkthrough of how to play. And then Yasuke's is, I would say, actually maybe just as bad too.
They're lame.
Hers are longer, but his is teaching you how to do big weapon combos. And it'll be like 4 circle blips, and you have to do each one by section. And so it'll be like 5 maneuvers or 6 maneuvers that you have to do, and you have to do it in a timely sequence that if you mess it up, you have to restart all over again. And it's so annoying, because sometimes I'm just doing it and I'm like, dude, I pushed the button, like I don't understand why I'm not getting it. And so I'd be sitting, it took me like 5 minutes one time just to do one. I'm like, dude, this is the most fucking annoying one, because it was a very quick kind of like a higher tier one, I guess. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things I had a problem with too, that shows the clear difference of why I think I like Yasuke's story, but you got to play as Naue's, is Yasuke's limited. Naue is the only, she gets a grappling hook, which gets you out of a ton of jams and makes exploration useless. So like Yasuke is useless for exploration, because she's got the grappling hook, she can do a bunch of things. So for me, I mean, I get it, but like even if you jump off and do the assassin jump, he can't do them, which I thought was kind of funny, but it gets annoying. Like he jumps and like he just eats shit into the hay. But one of the things they did try bringing to the action was the ability to crawl on your stomach, which was supposed to bring this whole dynamic to kind of stealthing around, and then being able to blow out candlelight so you can blend in with your environment. but they didn't really work all that well. I found that even if you got caught once, it said, I think there's way too many people in these forts. So, I mean, you know the old school play, go into a fort, kill everyone out, raid it, and then get the tower, get the chest. There's way too many people in terms of, like, if you get caught by a civilian, which you can't kill because it'll desync you, they'll run and they'll bring more people in. I found times where I was fighting, it felt like 50 people.
Yeah.
And as the assassin, you want the ability to be able to sneak around. And one of the things that you've got to go into and make sure you turn on, and I don't think it's cheating in any way, shape, or form, is if you're able to sneak up and assassinate somebody, you should be able to do it, not just take bars. If you don't turn that ability on, she'll only stab somebody, a big guy, and do it, and then you can't kill him, and then it lights up the whole, and everybody starts flooding in. I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. This isn't stealth gameplay. So if you are playing it or you haven't played it yet, make sure you go into your settings and turn on automatic assassination, because that's the only way that makes taking over those forts remotely possible with Naue. Because if not, you're going to be doing it with Yasuke, and you're going to be fighting 50 people every time.
I was just about to say that. That is a must-have turn on, because otherwise, you don't feel like you're an assassin. Like, you're stabbing this person, and then they're just surviving. Although it does make some of those level ups in the skill tree, like, worthless if you have it on, because some of them are like, take this much chunk of a health when you assassinate somebody. I'm like, it just shouldn't be like that in general. If I'm assassinating somebody, I'm an assassin, they should just die. Like, why is this now turning into a 50-man bar fight?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So I enjoyed the gameplay so much more after I did that, because you can still get caught, but now I don't have to sit here and fight my way out because I didn't accidentally kill this one dude, and I could try to get away. And every now and then too, you'll go to assassinate someone and maybe someone else will see you, and then again the people start flooding in, but you can get away because what you were there to do, you've already done. And that's more assassin-like, is, okay, I'm gonna kill this person, I'm the weaker person, so I'm just gonna try to get the hell out of here versus sit here and now fight all these guys.
Yeah, and as far as one of the other things, obviously, is that you have this loot system and you can start plugging in things, and I just think overall it didn't do anything. So I was talking with Andrew, and it's like, it sucks that it took this long to finally get to Japan, but at the end of the day, I still feel like it's too little too late, because the loot doesn't separate the builds from the characters. Like, if you're going to be sneaky, you still have to switch to one. If you're going to be tanky, you got to switch to one. When you've got games like Ghost of Tsushima and Rise of the Ronin, where you can play Jin Sakai, or you can play the Ronin, because in Rise of the Ronin, you can play the brother or the sister, and you can get gear that specifically makes you a build. You can make your guy a ninja, or in Ghost of Tsushima, you can make him the brute force samurai. And I think, so for me, playing those two games, going, man, this is awesome. Playing this game, it's like you split it in half, and it's like, it's cool that there's two characters, because I know a lot of people have fun with that, especially when they're very differently. It's not like playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate and you're playing the twins. These are two very different characters with different skill sets. But for me, I'm like, dude, there's other games that have just done it better in terms of how to make a samurai and a ninja all in one. And I know you haven't had a chance to play those games because they are locked on PlayStation, but for me, playing Assassin's Creed, I'm like, there's just better out there. So if people haven't played those games, maybe this was the game. You're like, cool, I'm in Japan, I got to play a samurai and a ninja. But me going back and playing these games, I'm just like, I just was like, this loot is useless, and I don't like switching between the two for these two different things I have to do. So I think that'd be my final gripe, unless there's anything about the loot that you liked, or...
And I got one final gripe as far as like gameplay goes, is sometimes like the exploration, like, so again, the highlight of this game is that it's beautiful. It is a beautiful...
Well, let's get on the open world.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
sorry, I didn't realize that was the last
one. Let's do the last one real quick, which was the open world, which there's a ton of stuff to do in Engines, right? It's beyond beautiful.
Yes.
But keep going with what you're saying.
But since we're leading into that, it's again, very beautiful game. Some of my favorite parts are when the seasons are changing, so you're playing like during the winter, during the fall, and then you even see like your footprints like melt away or fill back up with snow. The environments change. A lot of that is amazing, but traveling sometimes is such a slog, and I don't mean from like A to B. I mean from, there's a mountain up here, and it's the only way around unless I want to ride like all 10 minutes around, and it's like I can't get up and over this hill. Like it doesn't seem like it's too steep, but then your person will climb up and then they'll slide back down, and I'm like, dude, that's so annoying. And then there's certain ones that aren't like, I understand some of the certain assassin challenges, but then it's easy to break some of them because it's supposed to be like you're supposed to take a certain path. I'd broken a couple of them by accident just looking around for where I was going. But sometimes there'd be a viewpoint up there so that way you could synchronize. And it's like, okay, like how do I get up here? And I'm running far left, I'm running far right. And it just so happens to be you got to go all the way around, and there's only one little tiny section of this hill that would be admissible for you to get up there, and that is by far the most annoying point. And that happens all the time in a game where you're supposed to be traveling very, very far distances that I can't get up and over this hill. So now I'm sitting here, either have to ride along this path or try to force my horse, which I did more often than not, try to force my way through this section. So if I'm sliding down right here, I'm going to try to take it at this angle and just get up a little bit higher and a little bit higher and get up and over it, because just having to go all the way around versus just let me cut over it.
So let me cut over it. One of the cool things I thought they tried to explore was they do want you to stay on the beaten path, because you can hit, was it right stick? And it'll give you a path point to get to where you need to go. Because if you lock onto a pinpoint, it'll give you the white arrow, or the white path. I was noticing it to follow a lot of that. You'll run into these people, civilians on the side, and they're being like either beaten up or something. When you save them at the end, they'll give you a choice. Do you want to hear a secret, or do you want them to become one of your scouts? As the secret goes, it'll give you a cool thing to go explore. But the scouts will give you more people because when you want to try to find somebody and track someone down, you've got to use your scouts to so you got to read these clues. It'd be like, oh, he's in Kanto, and then he's next to this street, and blah, blah, blah. And then you've got to use the scouts to do it, and then it'll pop up blue, and you found him. The only thing I found annoying is that when you run out, you've either got to wait for the season to go, or you've got to use money to go to these hideouts to buy them, to refill it. And I thought that was it was a cool idea, but at the end it was kind of annoying to me. But other than that, open world, I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game. There's tons of stuff to do, tons of forts to go find, tons of people to run into. Anything else on the open world of the game?
Nah, honestly, that is the best part of the game. It's like once you're like really out there in Japan and you go through like cherry blossom areas, or even still just standing on top of some of these towers and stuff like that, it is beautiful. And I never had any problems with it like crashing or like the draw distance looking like shit or anything like that. It is, you can tell like they really took their time curating like that sort of experience, that I just wish some of the other stuff really lived up to that quality.
Yeah, so for the end of it, guys, that's kind of what we had to say about it. If you have any questions, leave them down below for your thoughts on it. Overall, would I recommend it? Would you recommend it? I would say no. It's skippable for me, unless like I've beaten every Assassin's Creed game. If you like Assassin's Creed, sure, play it. But if you don't want more of the same, or you're expecting something new or different in this game, it's not, other than the listings of what we just described between the two characters. Is it going to be in my game of the year? I don't think so. As far as getting it, I don't know. Does the Ubisoft trick still work?
Yeah.
Getting Ubisoft Plus, and then for $17 to play the game. Or do you look at it differently? Do you recommend it? Do you think it's a good enough game to recommend to your brother or your cousins? Or
I think if you're interested in it and you like Assassin's Creed, I think it is something that you should try. Just going with your expectations,
especially
like,
for $17 a little bit.
But yeah, for $17, and I mean Ubisoft, because there's just stuff everywhere, go on sale all the time. But yeah, you can sign up for Ubisoft Plus. That's what we both did. It's like $17, and then just run through the game. I will say though, you kind of have to make up your mind on it, because again, when we're talking about our experience and not what you see online, because I do think that this game definitely received a lot of unfair hate. Like, you haven't heard us talk about any sort of like the political or anything like that, because that's not why we tried these games. Especially like some of the bigger ones I seen were like with the whole like non-binary thing. It's like, oh, they're forcing Yasuke to be gay because he has like a bond with this dude, and it's like, okay, why you have to make that choice? Because I played on the canon mode and my guy was never like that. It's actually very clear that he's into another woman and that they have like a very special kind of like secret thing going on between them. So don't buy into any of that stuff being forced on it. Or some of those same people are also posting the gameplay and this is dog shit, and you're lying down on the floor and there's a dude with a big hammer like swinging back and forth and like missing your character. And it's like, yeah, when you're on the easiest difficulty, sure, you could do that. So don't believe like some of those things online that people are posting. I think you really have to kind of figure out for yourself. I don't feel like anything was forced on anybody. It's just it is a good idea of Japan and what it is for that time. And if that's what you're looking for, then I think you're going to have a well enough experience. For me, I don't give it like high marks, but I don't give it a low. I'd put it at like mid at best. I'm I don't feel like my time was wasted playing it is the best thing I could say. I'm glad that I played it, but I don't think it'll be at my top 5 at the end of the year. In
canon mode, because I had her sleep with the dude and the chick. Was there any romantic relationships at all?
I don't think there's any romantic relationships, especially with her. And with him, it's with the chick. I forget her name. I think it's like some other lord's wife or sister or something like that. That they kind of just have like, you can tell there's something there. And even now I said something about it. She's like, oh, you like her or something like that. Blah, blah,
she
blah.
jumps down.
Yeah, and like that's it. But yeah, with Now Way, there's nothing like that in the canon mode. There's no sort of romances or anything. So if that's the way the game's intended, without taking away the choice from the player, anything else that anyone tells you, they're choosing to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well said. All right, guys. So that's our thoughts and review on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let us know your thoughts down below. So with that down out of the way, guys, let's get into our second story real quick. Our something new, and that is Devil May Cry on Netflix has dropped. It came out on April 3rd. There's 8 episodes total. I actually recently just finished it. Andrew was on episode 7, going into episode 7, and there's a lot of people looking at it as if it's a hit or miss, because Netflix has done a very interesting job in video game adaptations, and you can look on one hand that there's things like Castlevania, and I even look at things like Cuphead as being very well done, but then on the other hand you have something like the new Tomb Raider, which to each their own. If you liked it, you liked it, but for me, I gave it 2 episodes and I was like, dude, this is just kind of boring. This isn't the Laura that I know. It's not something I want to waste 8 hours of my life on. But even more importantly, I think Netflix is doing really well with just its Western style of animation to begin with. So for me, is Devil May Cry being good? I am absolutely in love with it. I was talking with our friend Melissa about it. She loved it. I was talking to Dante about it the other night. He loves it, and I'd be hard pressed not to say that I think I like it better than Castlevania. Now let me put that with an asterisk. I think season 1 Devil May Cry is better than season 1 Castlevania, but remember, season 1 Castlevania is not that long. But overall, Castlevania's got a lot more to work with. So overall, Castlevania is better than Devil May Cry. But for me, Devil May Cry, I think, is a better show. The way it does its jokes, the way, dude, I have it right here, dude. It's got one of the best soundtracks.
The soundtrack is really good,
dude. Because it's for its intro, they have Limp Bizkit's rolling on it. There's a scene where Papa Roach Last Resort comes on. I think it captures it. But I do want to ask, as far as the show goes, where do you land on the games? Do you think you need to play any of the games to like it, or can you start fresh? Because Dante is a certain type of character, and maybe it plays more if you've watched or you played any of the games. I've beaten 5, and I've beaten the new DMC. I don't find that at all. So are you familiar with the games? How far have you ever gotten into the games? And you watching as far as you are, do you think anyone needs to play them?
I'm familiar kind of with like what's going on story-wise with the games, but I've actually only beaten like 1, but I've seen like videos and like read up online about what happens in some of the other ones. That I think you could just go into this with a fresh perspective and like understand what it is, especially because this is a prequel. I'm pretty sure it's even like a prequel to 3, which 3 is a prequel to 1 and 2 as it is. So, I mean, it really is kind of the start of a journey, because I mean, he doesn't even know who he is or anything about his father, and that stuff's explained in here. So anything that you don't know, it's all told to you. It's pretty much told to you everything you need to know.
Nice. So I did want to point out, because I was curious about that. I'm like, maybe I should dive back in and look. And if you are interested in playing the games, you can buy a collection that's on sale. And I bought it on Xbox the other day. So if you do want to check them out, I bought them yesterday. You can buy a collection of 1 through 4, the HD remastered collection on sale for $15 for all 4 games. Or you can buy them a la carte. 1 through 3 bundle is, I think, $9, and then 4 so depending on which ones you've played. And number 4, I think, was like $7. So separately, altogether, it'd be $19. Or you can buy the bundle, full bundle, for $15.
I was saying that too. I was like, oh, maybe I should go through and give these another play, because I haven't tried playing them since I was like a kid.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind playing them. Because I love Capcom, because I recently beat Bayonetta, I beat Vanquish, I've beaten, like I said, the 5 and DMC. So I think it'd be kind of cool to go back and take a look at them if you want a closer eye. And again, we're not trying to spoil any of this. This stuff is just came out like a week or so ago, so go have fun with it. I do think there's a lot of cool little Easter eggs that Capcom threw in there. There's a reference to, or not a reference, when he punches somebody, he falls against a Street Fighter Academy. He's like, Hadouken!
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I saw that he has a Mega Man as the bobblehead. And then there was a really fun Resident Evil joke where he's like, man, this is one of the worst jobs you've ever sent me on. He's like, what about that job in Raccoon City? He's like, second worst job. And if you guys remember, Devil May Cry originally started off as, I believe in Japan, Biohazard 3. Which,
2.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
And then it was going to be a Resident Evil game. And it did so much more in the action type combat that they eventually reskinned it as Devil May Cry. So I thought that was really cool. So as far as the story at all, I mean, how are you liking it? It's a lot of action, a lot of quick paced combat, a lot of rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm definitely really enjoying it. I don't think I found an episode so far where like it's boring, and then even I would say
I haven't even no filler.
My favorite episode is episode 6, where it's mostly just music. I think there's only a couple words said at like the very end of the episode.
And very stylized,
but it's just the art style is beautiful. I think maybe the worst thing about the show, if we had to talk about like a negative, is like some of the like 3D stuff that they do mixed in with the anime. But it's not like I really care. I mean, it's a stylistic choice, but it's sometimes you see it and you're like, woof.
Yeah,
but it's also based on the game, so who knows? Maybe like you could say it almost looks like the the gameplay itself when they use some of that stuff for that time period. I'm like, okay, like. I don't know. You can just tell that this was made with like a lot of love. I am personally really enjoying it. So.
Yeah, I love it. And we were talking off camera that there's a lot of criticism on maybe some of the way the characters speak, some of the dialogue and things like that. And again, there's some cheesy lines in there. No one's saying that there isn't. But as far as moving the story along, yeah, it's a quick, fast-paced episode by episode. And the combat, for me, is just where it shines. There's a lot of blood and gore. Nothing heinous by any means. There's a couple scenes where you see people being like operated on, and that's kind of disturbing. But as far as the action goes, to me, it captures Devil May Cry. Because if you ever played the games, it's a lot of just that fast pace, whipping your sword around, crushing everything in sight. And Andrew hasn't finished it yet, but at the end, there is this kind of final battle. And to me, it felt like watching a boss battle from a game. He's fighting him, and it's like, almost beats him, and things like that. And it's like, it gets close. I'm like, dude, it captured for me what it felt like a good boss fight would be. One of the things I pointed out, I don't know if you caught it, was Kevin Conroy plays the vice president.
Yeah.
And because I was listening to that voice, because I love Kevin Conroy, but I didn't think he was still voice captured for anything from the past, because he, if you guys know, he's the legendary Batman voice, but he passed away, I think, 3 years ago. So
I think they're saying this was his final project.
But that just shows to me that so Devil May Cry has been canned, or at least been in production for longer than I thought it was. I thought it was maybe over the last 2 or something years, but it seems like it's been closer to 4 or 5. So having a really great time with it. A lot of people were asking, is season 2 confirmed? Because at the end, it does say coming soon, season 2. So I just wanted to point this out. It said, the data that shows that Devil May Cry Season 1 made a strong debut, ranking 4th in the Netflix top 10. In just 1 week, it gathered 5.3 million views and accumulated 21 million hours viewed, with a total runtime of 3 hours and 56. So with that 20 million hours viewed, when you look at something like Castlevania that's had now 3 seasons, Castlevania was at 28 million hours. So for something that I'd argue that's more popular, Castlevania, Devil May Cry is really not that far behind it. And as of right now, yeah, it was completely confirmed that a season 2 is on its way. So I don't know, anything else you want to say on Devil May Cry without spoiling anything? I mean, I'm having a blast with it. I think it's another win, I think, for Netflix doing great video game animated adaptations.
It's really good. You should definitely check it out. And I mean, even reading the numbers, I think Castlevania walked so that this show could run. It's funny that you made that comparison at the beginning to Castlevania being obviously the season 1 weaker because it's only 4 episodes. But at that time, they didn't really have a track record. Castlevania was the first one that turned out to be really good, and then overall amazing quality. That I think now it doesn't show like, oh man, Devil May Cry is so much better than Castlevania. But Castlevania made it more acceptable to be like, okay, I should check out everything that they're doing because it's not bad anymore. It's good. So I am glad to see Netflix like killing it with stuff like this.
Especially when it seems at least their Capcom projects seem to be more hands-on
or
than something
Konami,
than Capcom Konami. Then because who has Tomb Raider now? It's
Squid. Oh no, they sold.
Yeah, they sold it. I forget to who, but
not everything's hit. And then what's the other one that they do that you guys like a lot? The 3D animated one.
Who's the lead? Vox Machina?
No, it's another one based off of a game that they have on there. I forget who it is.
Oh, if it hits you, let me know because I got it off my head. I can't think of it. But was there any other Easter eggs you caught at all? Did you like them doing little subtle things like Mega Man and Street Fighter?
I really like that, and then I tried looking it up because I didn't see anyone say anything, and it looked like to me, I forget what scene it is, but they're like going through a room. I'd have to remember what episode it is because I looked it up like as I was watching it. They're going through a room, and on a chair, there's like a sun hat with a pink bow around it and almost like a blue dress. And it looks like the way that the girl dresses in Howl's Moving Castle. So I thought it was a Studio Ghibli kind of just shout out right there. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, especially too with everything that they've done for animation in their career and stuff. I don't know if that is, and if you might have heard it here first. If that is what it's supposed to be, then that's what that is.
Yeah, because I don't know if we even said it. So anyway, if you're not familiar with it, the story, just I don't think we even touched on. I'm under the impression you know what Devil May Cry is. It's a professional demon hunter named Dante seeking vengeance for the death of his family, and he faces off against sinister forces. So essentially, demons trying to rip a portal open, have demons come in. He's trying to save the day. That's really all you got to need to know, and then just go and have fun with it. Knock it out in a day. Take it out over the weekend, and it's good fun. So anything else you want to say on Devil May Cry?
No, but last try. That one that you like, it's definitely got 2 episodes, and it was like one of the highest rated ones. It's not Vox
on Netflix?
Yeah, it's like the other one that you guys were watching that's also based on a game. And it was like the highest one. It was like rated higher than Castlevania and stuff. You guys were raving about it. And I think there's like 2 seasons. I think there's even like
if we can get it before, if we can find out after the show and I'm editing and you can remember it, I'll throw a picture up right now so we can get it because now it's gonna bug me. But we got to move on because we're almost out of time here. And so, guys, if you've made it this far and got through the stories, now we can get into kind of what Andrew and I are up to. We like to do what are you up to? Where we take a second and we talk about anything we've been playing and anything that we've been watching. So, Andrew, it's been a couple of weeks now. What have you been doing, my friend?
I'll go first because mine's the least. Because after like crushing Assassin's Creed and the baby shower and everything else, I've just been so busy that I haven't had too much time to play stuff. But you will find me out there in Verdansk because they brought that back to Warzone and the integration is so good. Warzone right now is feeling better than it ever has been in a long time, and it just feels really great to be back on a map that's good, with gameplay that's good. It seems like everything's working, and I hope this is a booster shot in the arm for Call of Duty to, okay, this is what people like and this is what we need to change, versus going out there and doing, okay, well, let's try to experiment with this and that, because it just seemed like they're really ruining the game and like tanking the fun for everybody for the longest time that I'm playing. I'm literally playing like every day with my family, friends, and stuff like that, at least usually a couple matches, and I'm having a great time and it feels good to be back in it.
Is it Arcane?
Yes.
Okay.
I kept wanting to say Arkham.
Okay. Well, you said 2 episodes. I think you meant 2 seasons.
I said 2 seasons.
Oh, I thought you said 2 episodes. I'm like,
no,
I said 2 episodes. Yeah, I actually just finished Arcane Season 2 the other day. Fantastic.
Another Netflix homer. People love that show.
Yeah. Was that everything with the Call of Duty?
Yeah. What have you been doing?
Okay, so as far as what I've been up to, as far as what I've been watching, we just went to go see a movie called Popeye the Slayer Man. And it's a curious group of friends sneak into an abandoned spinach canning factory to investigate the legend of the Sailor Man, who is said to haunt the factory and local docks. Now, it's a top-shelf B cheesy movie. Know that going into it. Obviously, the intellectual IP has fallen to public domain so that you can make movies like this based on certain characters. So they made a horror movie of Popeye the Sailor Man. Now, the movie was currently in theaters. But my brother Geno, who hosts Last Call with us at times, knows the main actor, Jason Robert Stevens, the guy that plays Popeye the Slayer Man, and he invited him to do a special screening at a bar here in town in Laughlin called Gilligan's, which is a nautical-themed bar and restaurant.
Oh, is that where you guys want to watch
which
that?
I thought was kind of cool. And so we met him, me, Geno, Sam, and Renee, all went out there. I was talking to the guy for a while, man, because I was really kind of picking his brain, and I'm hoping, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he never said I can't. The movie, I mean, take this with a grain of salt. It's not gonna, you're gonna look on IMDb if you check it out. It's very low scoring, but it's a good B horror movie. You've got to be into those to like it. Make sure you're having a couple drinks and you're watching it with a few friends. But I was talking to him, and apparently number 2 is already ready to go. It's from what its budget was, it's already made its money, and it's which is really good. You like to see healthy cinema, but he's already got number 2 booked and ready to go, and he was kind of telling me the plot. I won't say anything about it, but I believe he goes to start shooting number 2 in September. So if it's something you're interested in checking out, definitely go see it. And it was just really cool that Geno knows the guy, and he signed a couple of stuff for us. I got one for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give it to you after the show. He signed a couple things for us. It was really cool chatting with the guy. As far as what I've been playing, I just finished playing Split Fiction with my brother Geno, which came out on March 6th. Split Fiction is an action-adventure game developed by Hazelight Studios and published by EA. As a cooperative multiplayer online-only game, it follows authors Mio Hudson and Zoe Foster after they become imprisoned in the world of their stories when they are connected to a machine designed to steal creative ideas. So, if you're familiar with any of the games that they've done, if you've ever played Brothers is you play 2 characters, but it's a solo game that you twin stick and play. They move on to do a game called A Way Out or No Way Out. I think it's called A Way Out. A Way Out. And you play these 2. Have you ever played it?
No, I know.
So it's this game where you're escaping as these 2 prisoners, and it kind of sets up this idea because it was more couch co-op, and you can play, and each of you got to one's got to distract the guard while you do something, and you can kind of reverse the roles. Then they went on to make It Takes Two, which was Game of the Year, and that's when you finally starting to kind of see that it's not like A Way Out where you can, either one can do something. This game is like, oh, you have a role and I have a role. I won't get into the story, but that one Game of the Year, Split Fiction blows that game out of the water. I think it's the best multiplayer game I've ever played. Again, let me put an asterisk on that. I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, and I mean it more specifically in terms of a co-op game, not a Call of Duty, not a Halo, like a 2-player game. I play a lot of narrative games. So as Andrew, that's somebody that does play a lot of multiplayer games with people. I'd be curious of what your thoughts are, because I gotta say this: you need to be extremely careful with who you're playing with, because it's not a game I think 2 people can just pick up and start playing. Sure, you can try it, but there's a lot of animosity when it gets into dude, hit this thing, do this thing. Be careful if you're gonna play it with your significant other. Be careful if you're gonna play it with a child, because there's parts where, in the very beginning, even when you're racing on the 2 bikes, because the concept is that these 2 fall in, and one of them writes science fiction and one of them writes high fantasy. So Lord of the Rings and stuff like that versus Star Wars type of writing, and you're going back and forth between these 2 worlds, each kind of going back and forth and playing it. But you've got to be in tandem with each other. And playing with Geno, who is my twin, we're exactly on the same wavelength. There's we talk shit to each other when we play, but that's how we've always played 2-player games. Dude, go over there and hit this thing. It's I'm trying, you don't... But then afterwards, we're laughing about it. But I can see the tensions getting high with playing... I don't know if I'd want to play it with Sam, or I don't know if Geno would be playing it with Grayson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to pick someone that's on your same wavelength. But it is the best levels designs that I've seen. The ending of that game is beyond terrific. And I've heard other people out there say it's an 8 or 9 to them. For me, it's a 10, and I 100% think this game's going to be a front runner for Game of the Year. And as of right now, it's mine. But there's a lot coming out. We've got 33 coming out. There's the new Doom game coming out, so we'll see where that lands. But as of right now, it's been one of the best games I've played in a long, long time, and hands down the best 2-player game I played with anybody. And fortunate enough, I was able to play it with Geno. So if you haven't checked it out, again, we got Game Pass screwed. Me and Geno, because if you want the achievements, both of you got to buy it. But if only one of you buy it, you can send the code, you can invite somebody, and you can both play it, but you won't get the achievement. So we both bought it. I believe as of yesterday, it went on the Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Geno sent me a link, and I'm like, fucking Game Pass gets me again. So if you do have it on Xbox, you can check it out there. I'm not sure where it lands on PS Plus or anything like that, but as far as I know, it's on Game Pass Ultimate. It's got to be on the highest tier. So if you haven't played it, guys, check it out. So that will do it, guys, for episode 212. Join us next time, guys, for episode 213. Until then, guys, my name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemare. Cheers.
See you out there.